These patients are in their 30s, early 30s, late 30s, early 40s. My husband was 41. That was 11 years ago. Diagnosis is rising considerably.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Missions That Made Them. I'm your host, Jason Verdelli. This isn't just a podcast, but rather it's a movement. It's a movement designed to make the world a better place by bringing more awareness to the great work of the people and organizations making a difference. And more importantly, how you can help. We live in a world today surrounded by a narrative in the media that focuses in on negativity and draws attention to the problems, but not the solutions. Our guests represent the solutions, not the problems. And with that, I'm super excited today to announce our guest, Melinda Conklin, with Hitting Cancer Below the Belt. And Melinda's story is amazing. What these guys are doing is absolutely amazing, and can't wait to share the story with you today. And without further ado, Melinda, welcome on to The Missions That Made Them.
Thank you, Jason. We really appreciate this opportunity.
Excellent, excellent. So, Melinda, tell us a little bit about what Hitting Cancer Below the Belt is all about.
Yeah, it's a lot to say, isn't it?
It is, yeah. We have to get some of the water here a little bit to keep saying that right.
Yeah, it's Hitting Cancer Below the Belt, also known by the acronym HCB and the number 2. So HCB2. We're a colon health, colorectal cancer prevention nonprofit based in Richmond, Virginia, but serving the Commonwealth of Virginia. And we've been established now, or 2023 will be our 10th year.
Wow.
So we've made some great progress over the past year. So I'm excited to share that with you today.
Yeah, I know the work you've done. I know it's not just Richmond, Virginia, too. You've had a lot of requests throughout the country for the work that you do, which is absolutely amazing. So tell us a little bit about, Melinda, some of the backstory. I mean, obviously, tell us a little bit of the story about how the organization got started and really where the mission and the vision of the organization is.
Yeah, well, I was living a wonderful life with my husband of 20 years, and we had 2 children. We had 2 children that were 17 and 19 at the time. They're now in their late 20s. Actually, my oldest is 30 now. And and they my son was a student at University of Richmond, a freshman, and my daughter was a junior in high school. And out of the blue, my husband at age 41 got diagnosed with colorectal cancer. I can't tell you when he was actually diagnosed with it that I actually knew what that was. And I did not have a family history of cancer. He is the youngest out of 7 children, and there's no family history of cancer in his family either. So this, even just hearing the word cancer and having to deal with that, was out of the blue and extremely scary. So he battled for about 17 months, and then he ended up passing away in January of 2011. So we've just passed 11 years without my husband, Rich. I took about a year off from work. I was working as a mental health substance abuse clinician at the time. I was having a really hard time being present for my clients, and decided that I needed to take some time off. During that time, I realized that nobody was talking about colorectal cancer. We're, as I said, in Richmond, and I did a search, and there was no nonprofits south of Northern Virginia or DC in Virginia. And so I started a race. I am a runner, and so I've run many races, and I thought, well, that'll be fun. We'll start a race. And I was fortunate to have a colorectal cancer surgeon who agreed with me that we needed to do something. He also was a runner, and we teamed together, and we offered a 10K called the Boxer Brief 5K, 2013. We raised over $55,000, and we cut checks, and we wrote all the money away to national organizations, which is great. It's a good thing. But then we looked at each other the next year and thought, wait a second, I bet there's needs here in Richmond. I mean, we need to do more here in our hometown. Fast forward to where we are now, and that's exactly what we're doing. And we've expanded it, obviously, throughout the whole state of Virginia. But we now have a board membership of 12 members. We have an advisory council of 10 members, and we just started a junior board of high school students that has 11 members on our junior board. So there's some interest in the work that we're doing.
Yeah, and I know a lot of what your website talks about and a lot of what you do is centered around one is awareness, right? Education and awareness.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I saw there too is you're big on screening access because some people that don't have the healthcare to do that or can't afford those screenings to be able to do that, to be able to get the access, as well as just the around outside of awareness and everything like that is just on the educational side too. So can you just go into a little bit about the work that you guys actually do to in those areas?
Yeah, for sure. The one thing that we're very busy doing is providing actually colorectal cancer screening to the underserved population in the state of Virginia. So where we are now is we actually fund colorectal cancer screening programs at 9 different medical sites across Virginia. One's east of Richmond, 5 are here in Richmond, and 3 are up in Northern Virginia. These medical sites serve the underserved community. So that's either a federally qualified health center, an FQHC, or a free clinic. And they did not have a colorectal cancer screening program. And we've been able to come in with our best practices, our model, and replicate it at various sites with the using the FIT, which is the fecal immunochemical test, in-home private colorectal cancer screening tool. It's much more affordable, breaks down a lot of barriers, right? Because it's non-invasive and it can be done in the privacy of your own home. You don't need to prep, that sort of thing. But it's a great screening tool for those folks that are just needing their routine colonoscopy. They're experiencing no symptoms, they're of age, and they're in need of a routine colonoscopy. Invariably, a routine screen will find a cancer before you even know it. So we're really proud of that work, and we are finding cancers early.
How early are you finding the cancers?
I'm sorry?
How early in age are you finding that?
That's a good question. So the program that we fund is for folks who are of screening age. So that's 45 now. The screening age has been lowered from 50 to 45 for everybody. Okay. So anybody listening, if you're 45 or over, you need to go ahead and schedule your screening and talk with your medical provider about the best screening option for you. It might be an in-home screen. It might be the colonoscopy as well. But finding cancers, the organization itself we are constantly receiving requests for support because we offer nutrition services to cancer patients as well. And these patients are in their 30s. Early 30s, late 30s, early 40s. My husband was 41. That was 11 years ago. Diagnosis is rising considerably in the under 40-year-old population.
Why do you think that is?
We get that question a lot. And I think some people are going to be like, we don't know. We know. We're just waiting for the data to catch up.
Right.
There's a lot of energy looking at the sugary drinks. The high fructose corn syrup, the coloring in drinks. What are we feeding our children? But if you walk down the Gatorade aisle, Gatorade back in my day was just powder in a water, right? But if you walk down a Gatorade aisle now, what do you see? You see a bunch of colors, and I guarantee you, there's probably a lot of sugar in all of those drinks. When there's easy ways to make a hydrating fluid without buying Gatorade. So I'm not a big fan of Gatorade. Some people are looking towards that. They're also looking at the toxins in our environment. That's our air, that's our food, that's our water. Monsanto has lost a lot of lawsuits out in California. That's the producer of Roundup.
Yep.
So we're looking at pesticides, herbicides, that sort of thing. So the data is out at the moment. In the mainstream, research community, but I think all of us who are in it, and we know it's whatever we're putting more of a burden on our body, right? With the toxins that are coming in, whether it's through our air, even what we put on our skin, what we breathe through our water, and then the high sugary snacks and drinks are doing a disservice to us all. Yeah.
What are some of the early detection signs of that? Of colorectal?
Yeah. We say a lot in our education that we're trying to break the silence that surrounds this disease. So you can have a precancerous polyp and have no symptoms whatsoever. So the symptoms can be silent. And then if you are having symptoms, the last thing that people really want to do at the dinner table is share that they're having irregular bowel habits, constipation for a few days, and then explosive diarrhea, pain and bloating, thin stools, blood in stools. So sometimes when you're experiencing that, like chronic constipation, they just tend to think, well, that's just my GI system. I don't eliminate my bowels every day, and that's just normal for me.
Right.
It's really not. It's really not.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean you have colon cancer. And colon cancer is the large intestine. Rectum is the rectum. They just push that together. The colorectal just means colon and rectum. That's what that means.
Yeah, they're all connected.
Together.
Yeah.
So it's all, the treatment's basically almost the same. So colorectal cancer is what we're speaking about here. And the symptoms can be, as I said, irregular bowel habits, pain and bloating, thin stools, blood in the stools, chronic constipation, meaning that you're not eliminating your bowels at least once a day on a consistent basis. This does not mean you have colorectal cancer. It just means you need to speak with a medical provider.
Yeah.
And,
so those are some of the signs, I guess. Now, what are some of what you're experiencing now, I guess, with this being detected at an earlier age? Yeah. What are some things, I guess if you are experiencing some of these symptoms, what are some things that you would recommend somebody out here that's listening to this or knows somebody that has these issues? Yeah. What would you recommend them doing?
Be an advocate for yourself. Because the third layer of silence that surrounds this disease, the first layer was like, there could be no symptoms. The second one was, well, I have symptoms, but I don't really want to tell anybody. Yeah. The third silence that surrounds this disease is that the medical providers are not recommending screening. And that's not our organization saying that. That's actually in the literature and that's actually in the research.
I see.
So they're not recommending timely screening, especially for people that are under screening age. They might think it's just a hemorrhoid, or they might think, chronic constipation, drink more water. Okay, but we probably need to follow up. If you go to the doctor and you've got one of these symptoms and it doesn't subside for whatever treatment that they've offered you, you need to go back and you need to follow up. So I would say be a big advocate.
Be an advocate for yourself.
And I think that's for anything, any type of ailment, right? Mm-hmm. Is to take care of yourself by being an advocate for your needs.
And how does somebody, on your website, I know you have a lot of information and everything else, and you're very active in the community and getting out and educating the community. I see a lot of pictures on your website, blog, out at a lot of events, and just doing a lot of education there and awareness. But what are some things that a listener here or somebody watching that they can do to get involved into the organization? I think if you've been infected by somebody that's had this type of cancer, or you just want to help, what are some ways that they can get involved?
Well, ways that they can get involved in the organization are, this is anywhere across the country, is we're having our 10th annual Boxer Brief 5K, what we originally started with in 2013.
Yeah, that's great.
And we say you dress up your bum and you come out to run, and the 3.1 miles. However, we do have a virtual option. So if you're not going to be in the Richmond area on June 11th of this year, we call it a virtual challenge. And all we do is we challenge those virtual participants is to collect miles any way they want. So for the whole weekend. So you can swim, run, walk, bike, paddle. So maybe you're a triathlete. And so you're going to go out and you're going to, in June, now it's a little chilly in February. In June, let's say you're going to do, a 30-mile bike ride on Saturday, but then you've got to do like maybe a swim run or something like that on Sunday. I've had people actually walk the golf course and it counts. So any way they can collect miles. Yeah.
I think chasing my 4-year-old down the street in his little go-kart thing, his little bicycle go-kart thing that we got him, I'd probably count that too. Every quarter mile that he goes, right? And that's still every mile counts.
It all counts. And all you do is
awesome.
you register, you'll get your T-shirt. You'll get information about colorectal cancer in the mail. Wear your T-shirt. Take a picture of yourself collecting your miles. Post your miles, and because we're trying to get to 3,100, meaning cross country 3,100 miles in honor of colorectal cancer prevention.
That's awesome. Well, I will definitely participate in that because I'm an avid runner. I like to work out. I'm a big avid runner, though. Too bad it's not. Again, I was years and years ago. I did a lot of did some marathon, half marathons, full marathon, all that stuff. So it was a lot easier to get the miles in back then than it is today. But that's cool though. I mean, anybody who's you're already working out, you're already doing some of these things. Obviously, it's a great way to get involved. What is the vision really for where you are going? So anybody that's listening here says, okay, I'm going to support the organization, but I know obviously the goal is to kind of eradicate, bring awareness, but also to just get rid of the disease too. What is what for the organization specific though? I mean, what do you see this, how do you see this evolving 5, 10, 15 years from now?
I mean, honestly, unless some major changes are done in regards to, the toxins that we live in and that sort of thing, I don't know if you can actually stop colorectal cancer from happening, but what we can do is stop it from taking anybody's life. Right. So preventing colorectal cancer from taking someone's life is the ultimate vision. We are a prevention and early detection organization. We do not raise money for treatment or cure. We don't raise money for research. What we do raise money for is to make sure we prevent it and to make sure if it can be found with access to timely screening. We also support the survivors as well to make sure they don't have a recurrence. Yeah. So that is the ultimate vision. And I think it's, if we can prevent something from happening, you're not only saving a life, but you're saving a lot of financial instability. It is extremely expensive to fight any cancer. And many of these survivors are left with a hefty bill. And at the same time, they're concerned about surviving as well. So we really think prevention is the key, and preventing it from taking anybody's life. I've experienced it. I don't want anybody to have to go through what the Conklin family went through.
Well, it's absolutely incredible what you guys are doing and have, with the awareness, the events, the education, all the things that we can do to prevent. I think some of the key things you mentioned with, as me listening, late 30s right now, I'm thinking to myself, okay, what are some of the signs and everything else that I can look for? And, but think about it. I mean, think about the power of the listener here. I mean, if somebody's listening to this, share this interview, share bits and pieces of this, with your community. I mean, you understanding how important that is. I mean, if somebody listens to this, I mean, Melinda, you've shared the warning signs or some of the warning signs that people can look for. And I think that's huge though, but to be part of the solution, we talk about being part of the solution and not the problem in this podcast all the time, is to be an advocate for change. And the only way you can do that is 1, by taking action, or 2, you can even do this by sharing. So sharing this video, sharing some of Melinda's points here is critical with family members, with friends, maybe with your social media community. We share a lot of things out in this world. You share a lot of posts, but I mean, one of the best ways I think to that we all can do this and all work together is to be aware, but we got to share this, right? It's not just the one person that sees it. What if the one person could share that out with all of their friends and everything else? How many lives can we save in the process of just hitting that share button? We're going to your website, which is hcb2.org, and going there and getting involved. But even now, again, just listening, I mean, just hitting the share button to your family members, friends. Hey, did you hear about this? That we want to make you aware of this. You have the ability to save lives, and just by doing that, right?
Absolutely. And, 2 things. You talk about awareness, but it first starts with awareness in regards to what's going on in your own body.
Yes.
We like to say, take a peek below the seat. Check out below the deck. What is coming out of you, right? I mean, literally, we talk about this all day long, and we break the silence. People don't want to talk about this. And obviously, then the next thing is just to have this talk with your family members. Mom, Dad, have you been screened? I just heard this. Or so and so, have you been screened? You're turning 45. let me help you find a medical provider if you don't have a medical home. But I will tell you, I will leave you with a quick story. One of our board members is a colorectal cancer survivor. He came on the board about a year ago, and he was part of the 5K. And of course, people, create teams and that sort of thing. So one of his team members said, well, you're a survivor. I'm supporting you on the team. I'm going to go do this 3.1 mile trek. He said, I might as well go get my colonoscopy. I haven't gotten it yet. Well, lo and behold, he's a stage 3 colorectal cancer survivor now. His friend had colorectal cancer and didn't even know it. And he was about a couple years late with his colonoscopy. He found out he had stage 3 colorectal cancer. If he hadn't joined the team or decided to say, you know what, I might as well get my colonoscopy. If he hadn't done that, he would not be alive today. He wouldn't, because that polyp would have continued to grow and it would have been stage 4, and it most likely would have been too late. So again, what you're saying about sharing it, you literally save lives by just breaking the silence that surrounds this disease. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, Melinda, I love what you guys are doing. I just think it's incredible. We have the ability together to save lives, by taking this video, taking your points, hitting share, right? Subscribe to the channel here at The Missions That Made Them. Obviously, we have a number of other guests and other initiatives and everything else that are going to help make this world a better place. I mean, imagine a world that we can live in that if everybody worked together to bring more awareness around early, detection of cancer, colorectal cancer in this case. Imagine a world where more people are aware of that. Lives will be saved. Imagine a world where we can work together. But I love what you say, Melinda, is that, it's about yourself understanding some of the signs here. It's self-awareness. But I think before self-awareness, you need to be aware of what to look for and that type of thing. And it's just, the work that your organization is doing, I think coupled with the society out here, people like you that are listening and watching, sharing this out with your friends, family, social media network, you will save a life. There will be I promise you this, we will hear a story from this interview and your points that you shared, Melinda, again, this video being shared, and hopefully, again, just like your last story here is that if somebody can, hear that and say, maybe I need to get checked today, or maybe we need to hear some of the signs, maybe it's something to look for, because you will save, a family member's life, potentially a friend's life. And, that's the thing here. Right. So. Yeah.
Again, I'm going to emphasize screen by age 45. We don't say at, we say by. 45 is the deadline. That is the deadline to start screening. And because you screen when you have no symptoms. At age 45, I have no symptoms. Nobody cares. Go get screened. That's what you need to do at age 45. But it's by age 45, because if you have a family history, or if you're having any type of GI issues, you may most likely need to be screened earlier. And there's options out there for you. That's why having this discussion with your medical provider is critical, and being an advocate for yourself.
Yeah. That is so true. I 100% agree with that. Be aware, be educated, and share. Those 3 things. I think if they can do those 3 things here, Melinda, I think we're together with the great work of your organization, continuing to expand and get that word out. And I think with the coupling of that and the audience here is we're all going to make this world a better place, which is really the point of this podcast, to bring awareness to that. So, Melinda, you've been awesome. Awesome guest here. Great points brought in. Any last words you want to say before we hop off?
Just pay, like you said, pay attention. It's all about just paying attention, and then breaking the silence that surrounds the disease. That's the only reason why colorectal cancer is the second cancer killer in our country, and men and women. Women have colons too. It's 50-50. Men don't get it more. It's 50-50. And it's just because of silence. That's what we believe. Nobody's talking enough about it. And thank you, Jason, because you've given us a platform.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's really the goal here, is to be a platform for change, and to platform for change that's going to make the world a better place, right? Let's change the narrative from the problems to the solutions. And Melinda, you are clearly part of that solution. And I'm just so glad to know you, to be aware of your organization. So I love about doing this podcast, because I just realize so much good is in the world by just going out there and looking and getting involved. One last thing before we hop off, though, there specifically, on the website and everything else, I know you have donation options. Is there any other kind of opportunities for guests to that are listening to this to get involved or to support?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, if you are a colorectal cancer patient or survivor or a caregiver, please reach out to us at info@H as for hitting, C for cancer, B for belt, the number 2, hcb2.org. Because we'd like to talk with you and most likely provide you some type of service and some education. And then secondly, we have 3 events a year. We have a 5K, we've got a golf event, and then we have a party with a huge silent auction that's online. And that's at the end of the year. So there's all kinds of ways, depending on what you like to do. Do you like to run, golf, or party, or all 3? We have those opportunities to get involved as well.
That's incredible. Again, check them out, hcb2.org. And, we will take it from there. So until next time, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Be sure again to subscribe to the channel here, and be sure to share this video with everyone. Just everyone in general, right? Share with friends, family, all your social networks. Get this word out. We are going to save lives together.
Absolutely.